So good evening, everybody. You're welcome to this week's market forecast brought to you by Trading Pro for the 30th of September to the 4th of October 2024. So, Trading Pro is an international multi-award forex brokerage firm. They've been around for a while. And we're currently having a Pro Heroes Hunt contest from the 11th of September to the 11th of November. You could get over to the site, find out how you can participate in the competition. So without taking so much of a time, we're going to start off with the economic calendar. So going into this new week, the major news coming into the new week for the dollar is non-farm payroll on Friday. So Monday, we have some high impact news, but the major news this week is going to be non-farm payroll and unemployment claims for this week. We don't have any rate news for this week, but that's just basically the major news we are going to have this week for the dollar. So that takes so much of our time. Let's get down to our pairs. We're going to start off with the EURGBP, US 100, the dollar index, EURUSD, GBPUSD, gold, pound yen, and euro yen. So starting off with the EURGBP, this pair is still bearish. It's still bearish. So the possibility, and one thing we must also take into cognizance is that Monday is the last trading day for the month, and also it's going to start a new quarter for October. So we need to be aware of that because Monday, the monthly candle will be trying to take position. So you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of your trades on Monday. So starting off with the new week, you can see the EURGBP has a long lower week, which is a rejection from this 83.40. So going into this new week, the possibility exists this high didn't make a new low. So we might see a bit of a consolidation or a slight retracement on Monday. And if that retracement is to happen on Monday, we'll be watching price to come into this area here because we have what seems like equal highs here. And we have this other block here. So we'll be watching to see what price will do. But for now, the possibility exists that Monday, Tuesday, we might see a retracement on this pair. But that does not cancel out the bearish order flow. So the general order flow on this pair is still tilted to the downside. We might see a bit of a retracement. If price does not go above 83.72, then it will continue lower. But a close above 83.72 will bring price into this bearish order block. And if price doesn't get rejected from here, then we'll have a short-term low at 83.17. So that's what we'll be watching out for next week going into the Euro GBP. So outlook still bearish. Next we're going to be looking at is the US 100. The US 100 still has a bullish short-term look. Still has a bullish short-term look. If we look at the weekly, just like I pointed out last week, it has filled up the fair value gaps that I pointed out last week. You could go back and watch a video. So what we have now is that this midpoint, this weekly fair value gap is the midpoint of this daily fair value gap slightly. So you can see that price has rejected from there. And if you look at the weekly also, it has a long upper week, which closed more than halfway of its range. So this points to the fact that we might see a little bit of a correction going into the US 100 next week. If we look at where price is now, price is at a range low. That is this 4-hour candle. It's a master candle. You can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles before this broke the low. So if we don't get a close below this low, that low comes in at 19,963, then we might see price come to test this upper fair value gap here and probably the high of this range candle. But we should be aware price is within this down close candle, which is an order block. So for now, going into next week, the possibility is that we might see a bit of a range to a slight move to probably sweep these fair value gaps. But that depends on what happens on Monday. What the market does on Monday will decide. If we get a close below the range of this master candle, then we'll see. Because if you notice, the same range candle played out here, and it acted as support severally before sending price high. So we'll be watching to see what Monday offers. Then we'll now have an outlook. But the possibility is that we have a short-term high in play. So the dollar index, still a little bit challenging to read this, but the possibility is that we might see a move down this week. Why? If we go to the weekly on this pair, for the first time in a long while, price finally closed below 151. So 151. So what that points to the fact is that, and that FOMC low that I've been talking about, which is, I think it's somewhere here. Let me go back to the daily, the FOMC that I've been talking about somewhere here. Yes. So price finally spiked it. So going into this new week, the possibility is that we might see a move slightly lower going into this new week. We might see, because the dollar index is not giving new highs. It's in an ugly consolidation. So we just need to be aware of that. So the possibility is that we might see a bit of a retracement and a continuation to the downside on this pair. So the next we're going to be looking at is the Euro USD. Looking at the Euro USD has the possibility of a continuation to probably test out 1231 to 1274. But this pair for now is still bullish. If you look at the daily, there's a daily fair value gap here that has been acting as support, and it comes in at 1.1110. So as long as this daily fair value gap, we don't get a daily closer below it, the possibility is that this pair might still move to the upside. Or worst case, we get a consolidation. So that's what we have. The next pair we're going to be looking at is the GBPUSD. The GBPUSD seems to have a better outlook than the Euro USD. The possibility is that we might see a little bit of a rally on this pair. We look at it from the weekly. Seems to be having a little bit of challenge with my internet connection. So if we look at the GBPUSD on the weekly, we had a higher upper close compared to the Euro USD that is a doji. So if we look at this, it stopped very, very close to this weekly fair value gap here. So going into this new week, we might see a little bit of a range to a continuation to the upside on this pair. But if we should get a retracement, we'll be watching this 4-hour fair value, this 4-hour order block to act as support and send price higher. That's what we'll be watching going into next week. But the GBPUSD outlook is still bullish. Next, we are going to be looking at is gold. Gold is just constantly making new all-time highs. But what we have on Friday points to the fact that we might be seeing a little bit of a short-term high at 26.85. If you go back and watch last week's video, all the targets that were outlined has been hit and by gold. So looking at this, we have a range candle here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Price broke below it on Friday and is trying to retrace back into it. So as long as price does not go back above 26.85, the possibility is that we might see a move to fill in, at least to come down to this area here. But for now, this pair, we might be looking at a short-term high here, because if you go to the weekly time frame, you see we have a long upper wick. So it points to the fact that maybe Monday, Tuesday, we might see a bit of a retracement before a continuation back to the upside. Because as long as price stays above 26.13, gold is still bullish for now. But what we have might be a short-term high in play for a retracement to continue back to the upside. So the next pair we're going to be looking at is a pound yen. The pound yen, the possibility exists that this might still continue to the downside. All the levels pointed out last week has been filled. So going into this new week, it's best to wait for a retracement, a bullish retracement to join in the downside, because you see where price is within these consecutive down close candles. So we might see a bit of a retracement before a continuation to the downside. So for now, this pair outlook on it, we might still see a continuation. That's this correction with this formation might have ended, and we might see a move back to the downside on this pair. So that's what we'll be waiting to see on this pair going forward. The same view too with the euro yen, pound yen, euro yen, same view. Friday was something else, almost 400 and something pips drop in one day, 472. So it didn't make a new high, which points to the fact that this is clearer to head back to the downside. So for the pound yen, euro yen, any retracement should serve as an opportunity for a downside continuation. The euro, pound yen, same view with the euro yen. Gold slightly might see a bit of a retracement to bearish range. GBPUSD still bullish. Euro USD might see a range. The dollar index, a range to slight bearish move downside. The US 100, we might see we have a short-term high in play on the US 100. So we might see a bit of a retracement depending on what price does at this range low. The EURGBP, still bearish, we might see a bit of a retracement before a continuation to the downside. So that does it for today. I thank everybody for taking your time to attend. I wish you all a blessed and lovely weekend, and thank you all for taking your time to attend. Goodbye, everybody.